non-professional and professional individuals. Here in the Philippines, the use of spices is very common in our food, like the ones we are using in adobo, menudo, and many other delicacies. These spices are not the ones originated here in the Philippines. These spices I'm talking about are originated in the regions of Asia, like Central Asia, Southeast Asia, South Asia, and even in Mexico and East India. Now, let's talk about the 5 most common spices that we are using here in the Philippines. First on the list is ginger. Ginger was considered a very luxurious spices during 5,000 years ago. And these spices originated in Southeast Asia.
Ginger is used in most of Asian cuisine and Filipino food recipes. In the Philippines, it is most commonly used in soups and stews. Dishes such as arroz caldo and tinola use garlic as their main spice. It goes particularly well with chicken and fish dishes, where it provides a nice contrast to the strong meat flavors. Ginger is used both for flavor and aroma, although the flesh of the root is not always eaten. Most people just crush the root and drop it into the dish, then take it out just before serving.
And on the list is chili peppers. Chili peppers are not just used in foods but also in medicine. Chili peppers are originated from Mexico.
Every Filipino dish can be spiced up with chili peppers, from rich meat viands to everyday soups and noodles. Sauces like patis and soy sauce are often mixed with crushed chili and used as dips or marinades. Bicol, a region in southeastern Luzon, is known for using chili peppers in most of its dishes. Perhaps the most popular is Bicol Express.
On the list, garlic and onion. Garlic originated in Central Asia and northeastern Iran, while onion originated in Central Asia. These two go together as commonly used in seasoning worldwide, not just in the Philippines.
Garlic and onions. These two almost always go together, especially in meat and vegetable dishes. You may be more familiar with Taiwanese and Australian garlic, which they have large cloves and are easier to work with. But if you want a stronger, spicier flavor, go for native garlic. Philippine garlic comes in smaller bulbs, with cloves less than half the size of other types. This makes them hard to handle, but it's well worth the trouble. Philippine onions are strong and pungent, making them a great source of flavor. Use native red onions for sauteing and pickling, but use the white ones for salads and sandwiches. If you're making rice porridge, top it with chopped green onions for extra spice.
Lemongrass is native to India, Burma, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. Lemongrass is widely used as in the soups and some native delicacies in these regions.
Lemongrass has strong smelling leaves and stalks, commonly used in soups, teas, and sauces. The leaf is slightly sweet with a hint of citrus, a perfect complement to gravy and other meat sauces.
Pandanus. Pandanus is widely used as a spices or flavoring in South Asian countries and Southeast Asian countries.
Pandan is mostly an aromatic ingredient, most commonly used with plain white rice. Just add a couple of leaves to your rice as it boils, and it comes out with a strong, inviting aroma.
Plant is one of the primary source of food for human beings for their existence and survival. Plants has its own unique structure, and a wide range of plant materials are used to manufacture beverages. Most beverages contain a great deal amount of water. This does not add many nutrients to the diet, but it does play an important role in maintaining body balance by dehydration. Beverages are classified into two categories: the non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages. Under the non-alcoholic beverages are the non-carbonated and carbonated beverages. Example of non-carbonated, non-alcoholic beverages are the fruit drinks, the fruit juices, the fruit nectars, coffee, and tea. And examples of the carbonated non-alcoholic beverages are the soda, Coca-Cola, and tonic water. The other classification of beverages are the alcoholic beverages. Most examples of alcoholic beverages are wines and beer. Beers are usually made from cereal, while wine can be produced from either cereal or fruit, but both of them can be distilled to produce an alcohol. For coffee, it has a rich history in the Philippines. It is because the Philippines is one of the few countries that can produce four varieties of commercially viable coffee, namely the Arabica, the Liberica, the Excelsa, and the Robusta. And it is because of the climate and soil condition in the Philippines that is suitable for these products to grow.
During 1860s, Batangas was exporting coffee to America through San Francisco. When the Suez Canal was opened, a new market started in Europe as well. Today, the Philippines produces 30,000 metric tons of coffee a year, up from 23,000 metric tons just 3 years ago. In the Philippines, the first coffee tree was introduced in Lipa, Batangas in 1740 by a Spanish Franciscan monk. From there, coffee growing spread to other parts of Batangas like Ibaan, Lemery, San Jose, Taal, and Taanwan. Batangas owed much of its wealth to the coffee plantation in these areas, and Lipa eventually became the coffee capital of the Philippines.
Coconut wine, or tuba, is one of the main products in Iligan City. This is how coconut wine is made. Coconut wine is very popular in the Philippines, and many people often refer to coconut wine as tuba. It consists of pure sap with no bark mixed in. It is usually milky white in color, or sometimes it has no color at all. Unlike most wines, this wine is made to drink when it's fresh because it turns sour very quickly. If a more potent wine is desired, then oftentimes it can be distilled. This will bring out a more desired stronger drink. If you want to try and make coconut wine, then you can do it, but it's very difficult and can be made with any container in it. The morning after all sap that has been collected in the fermentation process begins, the sap will be placed into a glass containers in a way any sediments can be seen through the glass, and it will start to bubble and must be left in the container until the bubbling starts to subside. This is usually the last 3 to 4 days. After this, you will want to carefully transfer it from one container to another. The sediment will be on the bottom, and you don't want to move the sediment if you want to stay where it is. You can throw this away, and the next step, distillation, will take place, which will take 4 to 5 days. You should get rid of all the sediments. You should transfer from one container to another again, then after it, you cover the container. After a few weeks, you see more sediments and you will want to separate it again. The longer that you will let this wine ferment, the stronger it will become. Many people like to let their coconut wine age for about a year and then drink it, while some people prefer to let it age for 3 to 5 years, because if you can only wait that long, it will usually have excellent taste to it. Coconut wine is something that most people don't try to make at home, as it's hard as much of the process and long and difficult.
Coffee is the most important beverage plant from a commercial standpoint, in spite of the fact that more people use tea. The world output of coffee has been as high as 3 billion pounds with a value of $500 billion. The coffee plant is considered to be a native of Abyssinia, and coffee must have been used in that country from very early times. It was carried to Arabia about 500 years ago, and for 2 centuries, Arabia supplied the world. The plant was gradually introduced elsewhere in the tropics and reached Ceylon and Java by 1700s, the West Indies in 1720, and Brazil in 1770. Coffee has been in general use as a beverage for only about 250 years. Coffee belongs to the genus Coffea, which contains some 25 species, only 3 of which are of commercial importance: the Arabian coffee, Congo coffee, and Liberian coffee.
What did your coffee go through before it reached your cup? First, the coffee cherries must be harvested. Next, the cherries are dried and husked. The dry method is the process of distributing the cherries in the sun, raking and allowing them to dry. When they have dried, the beans' husks become shriveled. At this stage, they are hulled either by hand or by a machine. In wet method, the hulls are removed before the beans have dried. The beans are then placed on a conveyor belt. Next, they are graded according to size, the location and altitude of the plantation where they are grown, drying and husking methods, and taste. To make instant coffee, manufacturers grind the beans and brew the mixture in percolators. During this process, an extract forms and is sprayed into a cylinder. As it travels down the cylinder, the extract passes through warm air that converts it into a dry powder. Once completed, workers select and pack particular types and grades of beans to fill orders from the various roasting companies that will finish preparing the beans. When beans are harvested under undesirable conditions, they must be shipped as quickly as possible because such climates encourage insects and fungi that can severely damage a shipment. At a roasting plant, they are again cleaned and stored with mechanical screening devices to remove leaves, bark, and other remaining debris. The beans are then roasted. The most common process entails placing the beans in a large metal cylinder and blowing hot air into it. Roasting raises the temperature of the beans to between 431 and 449 degrees Fahrenheit. This triggers the release of steam, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and other volatiles, reducing the weight of the beans by 14 to 23%. Roasting also darkens the color of the beans, giving them a crumbly texture, and triggers their chemical reactions that imbue the coffee with its familiar aroma. After leaving the roaster, the beans are placed in a cooling vat. If the coffee being prepared is high quality, the cooled beans will now be sent through an electronic sorter equipped to detect and eliminate beans that emerged from the roasting process too light or too dark. Now, if the coffee is to be pre-ground, the manufacturer mills it immediately after roasting. Because it is less vulnerable to flavor and aroma loss, whole bean coffee is usually packaged in foil-lined bags.
Audio Jungle.